This week on the Rutledge Perspective, we're continuing the conversation around surrendering to the flow, around redefining what hustle and grind means, and coming into the end of the first month of 2021, which I cannot even believe. And this week, when we talk about grind and hustle and surrender, I really want to help us focus on what that means in terms of continuous learning and changing our perspective around where we don't know everything. So let me talk about what I mean by that. As leaders, especially if you are a more senior leader in an organization or you've built multiple businesses or all of those kind of things that happen, it is often the situation where we forget that we don't know everything because there's so many people that are relying on us to be the experts, relying on us to know all the answers, relying on us to tell them what to do and direct them, that we forget, and it's often truly a forgetfulness, we forget that there is still opportunity for us to learn. And we have to show up so much and so often as confident and all-knowing that our egos can get in the way. And we have a challenge in saying, I don't know, or let me figure that out, or admitting to ourselves that we have a gap in our knowledge that we need to fill, or something we just want to fill because we know it's going to make us a better leader, a better employee, a better colleague, a better partner, whatever. And especially when we're talking about hustling and grinding and getting stuff done, we don't give time for our own learning and our own development and our own ability to sit still and say, what do I need? I've thought about where I want to go. I understand my purpose. I am surrendering to flow because I know my end game, and I am willing to pivot and move and morph because I know staying in flow means that I'm going to be able to serve the way I want to serve, or give my clients what they need, or give myself or my family or whoever what they need. And yet, if we don't take the time in that surrender to pause and think about, what do I need? Putting my mask on first. What do I need in order to continue to surrender? Then we are doing ourselves and those we want to serve a disservice. Let me give you an example. When I first came out of corporate, because I spent a lot of time in corporate, right, and decided to do this business, I thought, I'll be up and running. I left December, and by March, this business is going to be running. Piece of cake. Now, that may happen for a lot of people. That's not what happened for me. Part of it didn't happen for me because of just the way I think. My type A insecure overachiever, got to get all these things set up before I can actually get out there, all kinds of stuff, right? Not wanting to be visible, all these kind of things, right? So there was a lot of head trash as well. But the other piece was, I really understand brick and mortar. I've been in it a long time. I understand operations, finance, marketing, sales. I understand how it all fits together. I get that. Human resources, building teams. I get all of that. But building a services business that is online, that is virtual, that is all about me being the brand, as someone who didn't even have her picture on LinkedIn when she was in corporate, that was a whole new world. And so while we were talking about the same things, because I did find some coaches that would help me get there and build the website and all of these kinds of things, and we were talking some of the same language, we weren't really. And it didn't hit me until quite a few months in that I finally had to say, okay, I know a lot, but I need you to assume I know nothing, especially in this space of online and boosts and posts and ads and platforms and algorithms. I don't know. I know what those words mean, but I don't necessarily know how all of that fits and what it really translates to in this world of online. So went through that whole process, got people helping me, all of those kind of things, started building the business, got the podcast going, stuff, right? Moving, grinding. And yet things still weren't moving the way I wanted to. Things didn't really feel like right and connected, still serving and have some amazing clients. And I love you guys. And yet it's still kind of just something wasn't connected. And as I began to really think through that at the end of 2019 and through 2019, with my intention of I'm going to be more visible and that happening and the radio show happening, all of that started to serve to really work on my clarity. Remember, my words for 19, besides my intention of being more visible, my words were clarity, conviction, and compassion. So getting really clear, being convicted about that clarity, and then showing myself and others compassion as I moved there. Well, I did get much clearer. But what that brought up was all these other places where I don't know what that is. I don't know how to do that. Where do I go first? How does it work? All of that craziness, which then starts the spiral again, right? The death spiral. That inability to surrender to flow because we're so anxious to hold on and we're so scared and we're so, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I can't believe this is happening. Well, one, it's year 3, and year 3 is always a pivot for businesses. But 2, as we begin to learn more about ourselves and surrender to the flow, surrender to the ability to understand, surrender ego, it gives us an opportunity to take into light, this is just an evolution. This is not even a big pivot. This is an evolution. This clarity, this honing in is a natural evolution of self, of business, of understanding. And when you're surrendering to flow, you're able to look at some of that ebb and flow and that discomfort in the right light. That doesn't mean it isn't hard, because it is. That doesn't mean it doesn't take effort to pause and to take a minute and to really feel what you're feeling, but then examining the feelings around, are those real? Are those true? Is that head trash? All of that stuff we still need to do to maintain the pace that we want, how we define grind and hustle, not how somebody else defines it, and to stay in flow towards the goal that we're looking for, that clarity and that conviction around where we're going. That led to the second example I'll share with you guys, which is surrendering, especially when you're senior leaders and people are looking to you and you have had to continue to put on the face and know all the answers, and remembering that not everyone knows everything. When you get to that place where you're really honing in and you're getting clear and you're fine tuning, it is setting aside your ego to say, I really need to find that expert, and an expert that fits where I'm going, because the more clear you are, the better able you are to find the people you need. And to set really clear expectations around the services you're getting or around the people that you have in your circle. And I have a really great support system. I have folks who have helped me understand how and when and why to get on camera and what that looks like. And it's been fantastic because, again, the woman who had no picture on LinkedIn before, right? And was only on social media under duress, although that hasn't changed, but I do enjoy being with you guys. And also looking at this whole process around, I need to have people that are doing that infrastructure stuff for me, because I know me and I will get in the details of that because that's comfort. That's comfort. And I like to know it. And I like to be able to be self-sufficient. So let me dig in and figure out how all this works. Well, that time spent me figuring it out, I could have just been able to be really clear about setting direction. And then I'm just in audit mode as opposed to do mode, because the best use of my time is not that. That also means that I've been able to spend the time to say, okay, but where is the best use of my time? If I've gotten really clear and really focused on what this next fine tuning is, then what does that person look like that I now need? What does my next coach look like? What does my next advisor look like? What does my next expert look like? Because while we hear that word expert all the time, and we all have expertise that we want to use to serve others, we have to be willing to figure out what experts we need. And when you find that person, being able to surrender to their expertise. I read something a couple of weeks ago that says, if someone is trying to tell you something and your response is always like, I know. Do you really know? Or is that your ego talking? Is that embarrassment? Is that a lack of courage? Because courage also promotes humility. Being courageous enough to say, I really don't know that and I need some help. That takes courage, especially in a day and age when everybody's supposed to know everything. Because the reality is we don't. And there's always someone who knows more or has a different perspective, who has a vision and an eye on something that when you're buried in it every day, you're not going to be able to see. And going into this last week and moving into this year of 2021, which I know all of you are determined just as I am for this to be a fantastic year. Yes, there's still a lot of stuff going on and we still got a lot of things we got to